over Eastern Connecticut, who you'll see is ranked down at second. That swings the home court in the conference tournament. Over on the other side of things, Western Connecticut will play host to UMass Dartmouth here tonight. So UMass Boston on the road at Western Connecticut. UMass Dartmouth plays host to Plymouth State. And the winner moving on to play on Friday. The starting lineups for tonight's game for Plymouth State: number 3, Dante Rivera; number 4, Joe Simpson; number 5, Jalen Leroy; number 14, Manny Alessandro; and number 33, Mike Osgood. The Panthers are coached by Andrew Novick and assisted by George Newkiss, as well as Zach Stevens. Over on the UMass Dartmouth side, the usual suspects: number 10, Marcus Azor; number 21, Atakan Akim; number 23, Jake Ashworth; number 30, Arinze Obiora; and number 32, Sean Leahy. They're coached by Brian Baptiste and assisted by Tom Keys and Aaron Struthers. And Brian Baptiste has been something of a wizard in the Little East Conference tournament in general, but in the first round in particular. He's been one of the most difficult coaches to oust in the first round in the tournament, going all the way back to its inception in the 1980s. And so he is the last team you want to see if you're taking somebody on in first round action. Right hand shot by Leahy spins twice around the rim and finds its way down. So the freshman out of Hanson, Mass. has the first points of the contest, and the postseason is underway. This is what we were waiting for all the way back around Veterans Day when all of this stuff got started. We were looking forward to postseason basketball. Happy to say here at UMass Dartmouth we are hosting on both the men's and the women's side. The women, of course, regular season champions of the Little East Conference, so they are off tonight. They don't compete. They advance automatically to the semifinal, which will be held here Friday and Saturday. Jake Ashworth with a 3 from up top. Ashworth has proven to be quite the sharpshooter in his sophomore season. Out of Fairhaven, Mass. and Bourne High School, he gets the Corsairs in front by 5, just over 1 minute in. Bounce pass off to the left for Osgood. Back up high for Joe Simpson. Simpson kicks to the baseline. Jumper no good off the back rim. Tipped and taken down by Akim. Akim hands off to Azor. Azor lost it off his knee but got it back. Fortunately didn't travel. Arinze Obiora gets inside and scores. Corsairs have got themselves a quick 7-point lead, and Andrew Novick's got to be very, very careful over on that Plymouth bench that he doesn't let this game get over before it starts here tonight. Corsairs very hot to start. They're, in general, a very good home team, 9-5 at home this season. They're actually better away, though, at 9-2. There's a steal by Azor. Azor with a chance to make it 9, throws it up wild, no good, and a very important rebound corrected by Osgood there to prevent the Corsairs from getting a 9-point lead. That's an offensive foul, wipe the points off the board. Joe Simpson called for the foul. We'll take another look. Simpson comes charging down, and good positioning by Ashworth. As you saw, he was outside the semicircle where Leahy was in it, so you saw the contrast. Good call there. Your officials tonight, a veteran crew: Bruce Anderson, Daniel Christopher, and Dan Murphy. Leahy up to the top of the key. Azor up top. Ashworth from straight on, misses short on the 3. It's tipped around and eventually collected by Osgood, who will bring it into the front court. Step inside, left-hand float is up and good, so a key bucket there by Alessandro to get the scoring started for the Panthers here this evening. Alessandro, a freshman out of Manchester, New Hampshire, and Manchester Memorial High. Azor, left-hand float, bounces in and out. Good play by Akim to punch it out to half court. Ashworth wisely gets across the timeline before touching the ball. Leahy misses on the left-hander and has trouble getting his balance back. So numbers here for the Panthers if they hurry, which they do. Leroy drops the pass in the lane. Akim tips it. Obiora takes it away up ahead to Leahy, who never got back, and that ends up paying off. Sean Leahy with 4 early points for the Corsairs. And UMD leads by 7 again at 9-2. Ball tossed up top for Leroy. Leroy dishes for Simpson. Simpson passes out to the wing, 7 to shoot. A lot of contact there, and I believe Obiora will be called for a foul on Leroy, who was in the act of shooting. Foul is actually going to be on Ackham, who was there first, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. I think that Obiora was more guilty of the sin, but they call it on that initial contact by Ackham, which was there as well. So the first free throw is down the middle and good. Leroy, an 82% free throw shooter on the year, 81 for 99, counting that made, and could pull up to a cool 82% on this, his 100th attempt of the year, and he's got it. So Leroy with a couple of early points. Panthers back within 5, which is the closest they've been since they've gotten on the board. Obiora steps into the lane. Right-hand float is up and good. Leroy comes into the front court, bounces one out to the wing. Spin by Simpson, and he retreats. Simpson behind the back dribble, passes out wide. Pass from behind the basket, stolen away by Azor. Great play by Azor to stay in bounds. Ahead to Marquise Jones, who's in for the first time, wearing jersey number 12, a junior out of Randolph. Ashworth with a deep 3. Ashworth with 2 made field goals. They've both been from way downtown, and the Corsairs have their largest lead of the game at 10, 14-4. With 15 and a half minutes to go in the first half, we'll have a timeout coming at the next whistle. Three-pointer, no good off the front rim, collected by Obiora off the Simpson miss. Azor contacted, no foul call. He lost the ball, and then he's tackled by the ankle, and finally they do call the foul there on Rivera, who does eventually pick one up. Well, that'll bring us to our first break of the ball game. Great start to the night for the Corsairs as they jump out in front by 10 in just over 4.5 minutes. We'll take a break and come right back. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Welcome back to Dartmouth as you get a look at the Plymouth State bench, and they've got to come up with some answers here quick, and you see how tournament play can be so different from a regular season game. Now, in years past, the media timeouts were introduced at this stage in the season. Nowadays, we play with them all year long in conference play, so Plymouth State is accustomed to that portion, but every timeout's so important in games like these, especially when you get into the single elimination scenario, and so Plymouth State had to walk that tightrope where you say, okay, this game isn't going the way I want it to, but do I use a timeout earlier than I want to when I know I've got one that doesn't cost me coming up in just a couple of minutes? And so they tried to ride it out, but it cost them as they find themselves down by 10 points at the first media timeout of the ball game. So Corsairs break the huddle with the ball. Remember, Azor got fouled just before the media timeout. So it's Ackham putting in the sideline out of bounds. Easy entry to Obiora. He gets called for an offensive foul, but Plymouth's got to tighten things up on defense. You should not be able to throw the ball from out of bounds to right under the basket like that. Panthers are fortunate that Simpson was able to make that play on his own. Obiora picks up his first foul there, and fouls are now even at 2 aside. Beginning of a big week of basketball all around Division III. Poor pass there by Brighton early, newly into the game. The ball saved in bounds. Ashworth trying to say he threw it off his opponent. Didn't get that call, though. And so the Panthers will take the ball back with just under 15 minutes remaining in the first half. We'll give a tip of the hat to our friends at Dartmouth Community Television who are here tonight bringing you all the sights and sounds and all the extra bells and whistles, including those clocks you're seeing on your screen there, along with the score bar. As that float by Rivera is no good, Corsairs come away with the ball. Try to tack on to their largest lead of the ball game. Azor puts to the floor, then crosses over and gets it out to the wing for Obiora. Obiora throws to the right side. Jones, left-hander, no good off the front rim. Got a touch on it. Good fight for the ball by Ackham. His shot doesn't go, and eventually Plymouth does clear the glass as Rivera takes it away, but then throws it back. And they're very fortunate that Ackham stepped on the end line. They teach you not to ever save the ball under your own basket, and that was why a lot of times you throw it into steals, it turned into easy baskets. That's very nearly what happened in that case, but fortunately for the Panthers, Ackham was out of bounds. As you get a look at Brian Baptiste, head coach of the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs, knocking on the door of 650 career wins. Harry Alexander into the game for the first time, a sophomore out of Washington, D.C. Loose ball. Azor comes away with it. Azor very good in these foot races. Fakes the pass, throws up a wild shot. Alexander there to clean up the mess. Alexander's first points of the contest, and UMD widens its largest lead out to 12 at 16-4. Atakan nearly came up with a steal there. Panthers hang on to the ball. Simpson puts to the floor. Throws through to the left side. Good ball motion here by the Panthers, but swatted away by Azor. Thrown up into no man's land. 50-50 ball there. Azor reached out and had it, but then dribbled the ball off the underpinnings of his right knee. Hard to see that hustle not pay off. Azor frustrated, but you've got to like the hustle that you see there if you're a Corsair fan. Now, these two teams met twice during the regular season, as you do in the Little East Conference play, and actually the road team won both games. Plymouth State came down here and won on December the 1st, 80-96. Corsairs went up to the Foley Gymnasium and returned the favor 88-81 back on February the 9th. So a true rubber match here tonight. Bad pass. Rivera couldn't climb up high enough to grab it. Brian Baptiste goes back to his bench. Jake Ashworth comes off for the first time, and Adam Seabloom comes on. Seabloom, a freshman guard, listed at 6'1", 170 pounds, out of Lakeville, Mass. and Apponequet Regional High. The UMass Dartmouth women's basketball team is all assembled in the VIP room off the Hall of Fame room. So they've certainly earned that, both the VIP treatment and the night off with their regular season, and should have been an up and down there on early, wasn't called. Works out anyway for the Corsairs as they bring it forward, but missing the layup with Seabloom. So the Corsairs are up by 12, but crazy as it sounds, it could be a lot more, as they have missed some transitional opportunities and some fast break chances as well. Jumper no good. Rivera pulls down the miss. As Plymouth's offense has left a lot to be desired here in the opening 7.5 minutes. Just 4 points on the board and none since the last media timeout. So a drought stretching back 3+ minutes to the last timeout. Leroy gives it up for Early. His shot is up and good. So Brighton Early comes up with his first points of the ball game. That's quite the name if you think about it. The faster you say it, the more sense it makes. Seabloom staring down his defender. Gives it to Alexander. Alexander outside. Ackham lets it fly. No good. And Rivera comes through with a rebound. Corsair coaches will be less than thrilled about that. Good hustle play there by Marquise Jones. Azor just barely saves it in bounds. Brian Baptiste trying to tell Marcus Azor to try to calm it down. Of course, this is Azor's first postseason game at the collegiate level. A true freshman out of Brockton High. Alexander throwing that forearm, gets called for an offensive foul. Third foul of the half on UMass. Take another look at this one as you see Alexander just getting a little too loose with that forearm. An easy charge to take there from Mark DeLoro, the senior out of North Branford, Connecticut. That brings us to our next media timeout, which we'll take and be right back. 16-6, the Corsairs lead it here on Little East TV and DC TV.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Welcome back to Dartmouth. UMD in front by 10, and there you see the UMass Dartmouth women's basketball team. If you play a little Where's Waldo there, it's Shea Carrero sitting all the way over on the left, Ashley Brown, is just out of the camera shot right now, and Jordan Moretti sitting there, Danielle Gonzalez behind her, and they are looking forward to a big weekend. There's Lauren Empey as well. They're looking forward to a big weekend here in Dartmouth that we'll have for you here on Little East TV and DC TV. The women's semifinals will be at 5 and 7:30 on Friday, followed by a 3 o'clock championship game on Saturday, as the Corsairs have been on a year-long mission to avenge their loss at home in the 2018 final to UMass Boston. So that's kind of what's ahead, but what's in front of us right now is a UMass Dartmouth men's team playing very well to open the game with some high-effort plays, but a lot of it not paying off, though, as you're seeing there. Corsairs have had rotten luck on a lot of plays like that where they've made an effort play but run out of room or haven't come away with the ball, or they've come away with the ball but haven't scored, as it's a game that right now stands at 16-6, but the Corsairs have had opportunity to be in the 25-point range at this point. Panthers trying to bring their offense to life before it's too late. They get it out to Brighton early. Get it? Early off the dribble. Leaves it back for Leroy. Leroy, bad pass, too low, poked away by Ackham. Seablum gets it ahead to Azor. He can hop! Oh! Azor knew he'd have that chance, and he pleases the crowd down the far end of the building. UMD back in front by 12 for the second time tonight at 18-6. Obiora gets a piece of that, trying to argue that he put it out of bounds off Rivera. Let's take another look at this one. Marcus Azor is listed at 6 feet. That's with his sneakers on. And watch him go. Throws that one down, and he's enjoying his first postseason game as a college basketball player. Simpson puts it into Osgood. And over for Rivera. Rivera off the dribble, passes over to Early. Early gets a lot of room as he had a screen in front of him. He runs in and scores. So Brighton Early has half the Plymouth State points off the bench. There's a deflected pass taken away by Rivera. Gets it ahead, and that's going to be 4 quick ones for Plymouth to get them back into the game, and one of the more predictable timeouts you'll ever see, called by Brian Baptiste to stay on top of that right there, with 10:13 to play in the half. So we'll take a look at the sequence. Corsairs, for all that they've done right here tonight, they've been very careless with the basketball, and it's threatened to cost them a few times tonight. Here it did, as Plymouth State, that had scored only 4 points all night until just a couple of moments ago. They rattle off 4 in about 10 seconds of actual gameplay to get a 12-point deficit down to just 8 with 10:13 remaining in the half. So again, just to bring you up to speed on what else is going on around the Little East tonight, you've got 4th-seeded Western Connecticut playing host to 5th-seeded UMass Boston. We'll keep you posted on the score of that game as well. There's also 2 first-round matchups on the women's side as well, but as we've discussed, the UMass Dartmouth women are not playing because they've earned the right not to have to. Seablum drops it back. Obiora puts to the floor and hands off for Ackham. Ackham, good entry pass to Seablum. Seablum rises, shoots, scores, and gets fouled. First points of the evening for Seablum, and here's another look. Really muscled his way in there off a rather foggy backboard. Looks like somebody forgot to wipe that part of it. Either that or the basketballs are leaving quite the smudge as Seablum shoots the free throw and drains it. He's got 3 on the game and will come back to the bench, replaced by Jake Ashworth, who hit a couple of triples early. So the UMD lead back to double digits, and now Brian Baptiste will employ that full court press that the Corsairs have used intermittently this year. Good test of a visiting team's mettle as Early misses the three-pointer. Leahy chases down the miss. And we'll see if this lets the Corsairs dictate the pace of play now, as they've shown an ability to stack up points quickly. Sanders Dyer into the game as the Corsairs miss a shot inside. Dolan Sanders Dyer, a freshman out of Worcester, Mass. and Marianapolis Prep. Early feeds inside. Good spin on the baseline by Mike Osgood, who picks up his first points of the game. 9 minutes to play in the half. Good move to the basket, a little too good, as Sanders Dyer is called for a travel. Plymouth State gets Leroy back in with 9 minutes to play in the first half. So Plymouth cut it back to a single-digit deficit as Brian Baptiste speaks to the officials about that last travel call, as he's always trying to get in the officials' ear, try to get himself a call later on in a game. Turnaround, fade away, no good. Leahy nearly punched it up into his own basket. Ackam was able to avoid that. Good pass last second by Obiora. Sanders Dyer got fouled on his way to the cup, and he'll get himself a couple of free throws here. He's attempted only 4 so far this year. He's made 3 of them. Obiora very nearly traveling, and the foul given inside by Mark DeLoro, his first. First one does sit down for Sanders Dyer, who's playing in just his 5th career game here tonight, a mid-season addition for UMD. Marcus Azor giving the Corsairs good minutes in his first stint. Had that thunderous dunk. And Dyer filling in admirably at the moment, as he's got the Corsair lead back up to 11 at 23-12. Plymouth trying to beat the press. Lob pass ahead for Leroy. No open shot available, and so the Panthers will set it up in their half-court offense. Early to the top of the key for Alessandro. Now Simpson, one dribble, throws a bad pass, stolen away by Ackam, who's been in the right place at the right time a lot defensively. Threw a good bounce pass out in front of Leahy, who didn't have the handle. So again, UMD making an effort play to get the ball, but they failed to turn it into points. It's not stopping Arnie from mugging for the camera. Eight minutes to play first half, so we'll have a timeout coming at the next whistle. UMD leading by 11. They've led by as many as 12 on a couple of occasions in this first half. Strong dribble drive, a block inside. Ackam called for a foul. And they say ball don't lie, and I suspect this will be the latest example of that. Ball don't lie. Simple as that. So we're going to take a break here and come back with a couple of Panther free throws. Your score at the moment, Corsairs 23, Panthers 12. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Welcome back to the trip. UMass Dartmouth hasn't really hit full stride here tonight, but they've taken advantage of a cold Plymouth State offense and built an 11-point lead. Plymouth State, though, is going to the free throw line because of a rather iffy call. I mean, you can't make a more textbook block than that, and Ackam couldn't believe the call, and understandably so. Nevertheless, Plymouth going to get an opportunity from the charity stripe here to try to take an 11-point deficit down to 9.
Substitution for the Panthers, taking away 23,
Sam Bonnie Lyles checks in for the Panthers, a 6'5 sophomore from Hudson, New Hampshire, and Alvern High School. Alessandro steps to the free throw line to shoot a pair. Alessandro on the season, 62% from the line, 65 for 105, and some basketball justice there as he short arms the first. And the second is down the middle. So Alessandro hits on 1 of 2. He's got 3 points on the game. And the lead stands at 10 for the Corsairs, which is around where it's been for most of this game. Obiora hands off for Azor. Saunders Dyer still in the game with Azor on the bench. Atcam. Azor must have had his ears burning as he steps to the table now. Atcam's right-hander, too strong off the back rim. Goes off the face of Bonnie Lyles, but he's able to stay in bounds and hang on to possession. So here come the Panthers trying to make it a single-digit game, and Obiora is going to get called for his second foul of the half, which might mean he's headed to the bench. And if so, that's a big boon for Plymouth State. It is one way or the other. Sanders Dyer comes out, Azor back in. So the Corsairs, at least for the moment, have their full starting five out there. It's caught just in front of half court by Dante Rivera. Rivera very undersized at 5'8", 130 pounds out of Methuen, Mass. Out on the New Hampshire border. Three-pointer no good and hits the apparatus up over the basket, so it's blown dead. And Leroy missing on the tray. The Corsairs take back over. So come under 7 minutes remaining in the half with a double-digit lead. So you'd certainly take a double-digit lead in the first half. It's offered to you. But the Corsairs have had a pretty underwhelming performance given the fact that they've had a wire-to-wire lead at this point. Lots of opportunities to really blow the game open. They haven't taken advantage of them. They're just kind of leaving Plymouth around at the moment. Case in point. Azor zigs, Ashworth zags, and the ball's going back over to Plymouth State with 6:39 to go. You heard how Greg Antonelli just said bright and early over the PA microphone. He's got a little smirk on his face, looking around to see if anybody else is in on the joke. Alessandro drops it back for Bonnie Lyles. Early with a head fake. Now you can't take that shot against Arinze Obiora, as you just learned. Early is 5'9", and Arinze is not. Plymouth ball with 13 to shoot. High pass, Early chases it down in front of the timeline. Just 10 to shoot now for Plymouth. We'll see if they're cognizant of that or not. It's an easy thing to forget at that stage. They'll take an NBA distance three-pointer, no good, but it works out for them. Some accidental offense there as Bonnie Lyles was there for the follow. Panthers back within 8 at 23 to 15. And 6 minutes to play first half. Leahy comes out to receive it. Bounce entry up to the free throw line. Akam spins, shoots, and scores. Corsairs have needed that for a couple of minutes now, and the senior out of Ankara, Turkey, gets UMD back up by 10 at 25-15. With 5:35 to go, that should be a charge, and it is. Alessandro just coming in out of control. Corsairs have gotten adept at getting themselves positioned to take charges. So 5:35 remaining in the half. UMD trying to blow this game open, something they've had opportunities to do but haven't done. They've led by 10 for most of the half, by 12 on a couple of occasions. And they've got another chance to try to bump it to 12 or maybe 13 if they can score on this trip down the floor. Obiora will trigger the sideline out of bounds. And he puts it into Ashworth. Ashworth inside out for Akam. Ashworth will try the deep three. That'll miss short. He was trying to draw a three-shot foul and didn't. Leahy came away with the ball. Very physical in there. Leahy misses on the shot, and the rebound taken by Alessandro. Alessandro passes, and a wild shot from short range by Dante Rivera, who's having a tough night so far. Azor will try to calm it down. 5 minutes remaining in the half, and Early gives the foul. Now Plymouth still had it to give, so no free throws coming here. But that was their final foul of the game of the half under the bonus. Seablum back in, Leahy to the bench, and Akam from just below our broadcast perch here will put the ball in play. Got a good perspective on it there from the high camera at center court. Ashworth, bad pass inside. Arinze wasn't ready for it. Alessandro comes away with the ball. Alessandro fakes, gets all the way to the basket as he just took Arinze Obiora to the rack. So that'll prompt another timeout by Brian Baptiste with 4:43 remaining in the first half. as that lead dwindles to 8 points. And so you see kind of the persistent issue that UMass Dartmouth has got here. They've had opportunity after opportunity to push the lead north of 12 points. They haven't done it. And so now they leave themselves exposed to the possibility of a Plymouth State run before the time the half is up. As I mentioned, this is one of 2 simultaneous Little East Conference tournaments games on the men's side. UMass Boston out in Danbury taking on Western Connecticut. And WestCon leading a nail-biter out there right now, 27-26. So 5 minutes, 13 seconds to go in the first half there. Leahy back into the game for the Corsairs, who've got the ball and a chance to make it a double-digit lead again. Corsairs came out of the gate very well, scored 7 points in under a minute and a half. And they have cooled tremendously since then. Double team trap on Azor. Alessandro comes away with the ball, nearly had the and one. And will go to the free throw line shooting 2, as Plymouth looking to make this game as close as it's been in a long, long time.
At the line for the Panthers, number 14, Benny Alessandro, shooting 2.
So Azor called for the foul there. Not a bad foul, given the fact that it didn't go in. As you try to make Alessandro go and earn it as a 62% free throw shooter, and he makes the first. 6 points in the game now for Alessandro. Now, Corsairs got up 14-4 and 18-6. So this is the closest the game has been in an awfully long time. Remember, it was 7-0 and then 9-2, and I believe this is the closest it's been since 9-2. So I try my best to do the Bill Young thing here tonight. As both free throws are good for Alessandro, he's up to 7, and it's a 6-point game at 25-19, and things may get even better for the Panthers here as Brighton Early takes it forward and misses. Did not get the worm that time as Obiora throws it ahead. Sanders Dyer gets fouled, or did he? Looked like we had one referee calling a block, one calling a charge, and the charge call will win. Now, Plymouth State is arguing the call, and they got the call they want, so I don't really see what the issue is here. Defender was positioned. He was flopping before the contact, which they're not supposed to reward that, but nevertheless they did. And so here's the big opportunity for Plymouth State. They've been down double digits for most of this game. And now they could cut it to one possession if they could hit from downtown here. Our final media timeout of the half will come at the next whistle, and that comes right away. Missed opportunity by the Panthers there as Bonnie Lyles traveled with a chance to make it just a 4-point game. So the Panthers have come to life, and they're going to look to see if they can make things snug come halftime when we return. In the meantime, your score, UMass Dartmouth 25, Plymouth State 19. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
.358 to play first half. The Corsairs have seen half their lead vanish in the last few minutes. As Plymouth State's come on strong, Plymouth trailed at 18-6, what seems like an eternity to go. And they have gone on a slow but steady 13-7 run since then to get back within 6. As you see, the crowds start to grow once these start to be tournament games. Arinze Obiora comes back out to the floor. Remember, he's on the floor with 2 fouls, so he's got to be careful. Azor remains on the bench, and Sanders Dyer getting some serious minutes as he had a very strong take to the basket that got wiped away by a charging foul. As the Corsairs try to revive their offense that started hot and has gotten cold. Seablum going to try to change that as he's quick to knock down a mid-range J. Corsair lead back up to 8 at 27-19. Alessandro gives it up for Brighton Early. He's stripped, And Ackham comes away with the ball. Dyer inside for Obiora, who scores. Good response out of that last media timeout by UMD. They're on a 4-0 run, and they widen the lead back to double digits at 29-19. And Jake Ashworth, the skilled three-point shooter, looking to come back into the game for UMD to close out the half. Alessandro rises and throws it into the front row. Ashworth will come back on here. And it looks like Atakan Ackham will get some rest before the halftime break. Obiora puts it in play. And Sanders Dyer will quarterback the Corsair offensive attack as they try to match their largest lead of the game. Makes a good pass to Arinze for the finish. 6-0 run out of the break for UMass Dartmouth, and they've matched their largest lead of the contest again here at 31-19. Largest lead for UMass Dartmouth since all the way back at 18-6. Leahy diving on the floor for the ball. Still scrapping at it. It's still loose. They call the jump ball. Plymouth State will hang on to it via the possession arrow, but that's the kind of effort you've got to have to win tournament games, and everybody wearing white knows that, and they salute the effort accordingly. Good job there by Seabloom getting into the muck there and giving Leahy a second chance at it. The Corsairs now, if nothing else, have the arrow for the remaining 2.5 minutes. And remember, Plymouth State had some shot clock issues earlier in a similar interruption. They're down to 10 seconds right now. But are they aware of it? Elbow jumper, no good off the back rim. Good offensive rebound, plucked away by Sanders Dyer, but he never saw the ball. Ball loose on the floor, fumbled, and just before the travel, a good pass made by Rivera. Bodies everywhere. Rivera's down, Osgood's down, and Seabloom takes full advantage. There's a two-man advantage there for the Corsairs, and Seabloom leveraged it perfectly. Corsairs have come storming back to take their largest lead of the game, but just as I say that, Joe Simpson comes up with a three-pointer to take what had been a 14-point game very briefly at 33-19 and makes it now an 11-point game at 33-22. Still a lot of time left in the half here as the scoring and pace have increased at both ends. Feels later than it is. Seabloom kicks out. Leahy, good head fake. Seabloom from the corner, switches, throws up a wild left-hander, no good, and it's going to be an over-the-back third foul called on Arinze Obiora, and it's in the bonus. That really hurts. So Arinze is going to have to sit for the rest of the half. Harry Alexander will come in for the remaining minute 25. And Plymouth State will get a bonus opportunity in the truest sense of the word. A loose ball foul a mile from the basket is going to be what sends the Panthers to the free throw line here. Joe Simpson at the stripe. He's an 87% free throw shooter on the year, 55 for 63, and he makes the front end. 4 points on the game for Simpson. He'll try to make it 5 to get the Panthers back within single digits. And he does. So the Corsairs go on a quick 8-0 run, but Plymouth State counters with a 5-0 run of its own to get back within 9 with a $1:18 remaining in the half. Can the Corsair offense counter? No. Leahy stripped on the way up. Alexander coughs up the ball, and UMass Dartmouth really fortunate that they're going to hang on to it here. So who's going to provide the scoring? You've got Azor out of the game, Ackham out of the game, Obiora out of the game. You have to think Ashworth is going to want to get himself another shot or two. Corsairs just barely missed the 5-second violation. Alexander with a bad shot there and an easy rebound from Mark DeLoro. Panthers looking to make things close. Finger roll no good. Sanders Dyer's got some serious speed. He turns on the Jets. Leaves it for Ashworth. Ashworth kicks up top, deflected pass. Dyer leaves it. Seabloom steps inside, tosses out. Ashworth takes the contested corner three, no good. Leahy chases down the offensive rebound. Corsairs could calm it down, but why do that when you've got Jake Ashworth? He misses on the three. That would have put the Corsairs back up a dozen. And Plymouth State now gets an opportunity to wind this into the final 10 seconds of the half, and Andrew Novick certainly knew that, and so he will use a timeout there to get his offense set for what could be its final possession of the first half. So, you know, it's two different ways you can look at it. on the UMass Dartmouth side of things. Did a good job coming out of that last break where he had a 12-point lead go down to 6. Had a good fight to get that back up. It was briefly at 14 points, but then very rapidly thereafter, Plymouth has countered, gone on a 5-0 run, and they've made it a 9-point game. So the Panthers have a chance to keep it within 2 possessions going to halftime. I think given all that's gone wrong for them on the offensive side in these first 20 minutes, if you could go in with a deficit of 6 points or fewer, you'd feel like you stole something in this game here tonight, as UMD had just a glut of opportunity to make it a 15-plus point margin. They never did. They got it to 14 very briefly, but Plymouth immediately hit a 3-pointer. So really we've been playing between 6 and 12 for almost the entirety of the game. And if Plymouth can get it back to the 6, that'll be a very good result for them given how this half has taken shape. Leroy steps right, falls away, floater, no good, a brick. Loose on the floor, no reset of the shot clock. They know it. 3-pointer, no good off the front rim by Rivera. Corsairs collect the rebound. They've got 9 seconds left before the buzzer. Sanders Dyer came through like he had 2 seconds left, coughed it up. Plymouth's going to get a shot here from the corner at the buzzer. Bounces out on Dante Rivera, who had as good a look as you could ever hope to have. And so the Corsairs dodge a couple of bullets there in the waiting seconds, and they will settle for a 9-point halftime lead in a half where they led by as many as 14. So a lot of twists and turns in those final 10 minutes of the first half, but the Corsairs with a healthy size advantage as they head back to the dressing room, and they stand 20 minutes away potentially from a trip to the semifinal round of the 2019 Little East Conference Tournament. All right, if you're watching this game here live, we'll get you some halftime numbers that we'll go over, and it'll be about 15 minutes until the second half gets started. If you're watching on DCTV, just in the blink of an eye, we'll be back with second half basketball. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament. Welcome back. Welcome back live to the Tripp Athletics Center at UMass Dartmouth for the first round of the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament. You can see not the tidiest of first halves. Plymouth State not a good shooting first half, and the turnover numbers off the charts going both ways. Neither team with a great shooting first half, but the Corsairs in the low 40s, 43% from the floor, and they made 2 3-pointers, both coming from Jake Ashworth early in the proceedings. Plymouth State making only 1 on the half. If you're Plymouth State, you take solace in the fact that you shot that poorly, and yet you're only down by 9 points here at 33-24 because, just statistically speaking, very unlikely that you're going to shoot just 32% from the floor against. That ought to give you a chance to climb back into the game. And as you can see, nobody making it into double digits in the first half. Arinze Obiora leading all scorers with 8 points at the moment. So this is a game where you figure at least one, probably both offenses are going to figure it out before all said and done. But UMass Dartmouth has the 2 big advantages of A, the 9-point lead, and of course B, home court, as this has been kind of a late arriving, fashionably late crowd here at the Tripp tonight, but it's still growing. And the Corsairs will have full-throated support in this second half as Ashworth very quickly knocks his first 2-pointer of the game down. He's now got 8 points in the game, and the Corsairs advance their lead to double digits at 35-24. Again, the winner of this one advances to the semifinal at Keene State on Friday night. The loser is done as that one coughed up. Ball will stay with Plymouth State. 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Halftime over in Danbury. 4th-seeded Western Connecticut leads 5th-seeded UMass Boston by a score of 45-32. The winner of that game will play the true road game against Keene State. Whereas the winner of this one doesn't really get it too much easier. They play Eastern Connecticut, who's been the dominant force in this conference the last several years, but they do get the benefit of having that played at a neutral site, and really it'll be a closer trip for either of these teams if they're in that game. That's a basket and one prior to the buzzer before the shot clock expired. So Simpson gets the and one and has a chance to get a 3-point play to bring it back to an 8-point game with 19:15 remaining in regulation. The foul is on Leahy, which is his first. Another thing to keep in mind is that Arinze Obiora already has 3 fouls. He picked up 3 in the first half, so he's out there on the floor right now with 3. But if he were ever to pick up an early 4th, he might be out of the game for an awfully long time, and this is a team that relies on what he gives them. Rebound nearly fumbled out of bounds. Another good play by Simpson to keep it in play after Leroy batted it. Makes a good pass, but on and off of the hands of Mike Osgood along the baseline. And this has really been a game full of cringy things like that happening along the baselines at both ends. Good entry pass down low for Leahy. Scored and won. Beautiful dish inside by Ackham. And a nice catch received by Leahy, which is a sight for sore eyes. Can't do it much better than this. Bad foul there by Osgood. If you're going to foul him, you have to make sure he doesn't hit the shot, particularly when you have the size advantage. Leahy, though, a 69% free throw shooter, misses off the front rim, and the rebound grabbed by Alessandro. UMass Dartmouth lead at 10, which is not quite comfortable, as the entry pass gets down low for an easy bucket for Dante Rivera, who at long last has his first points of the ball game. The freshman out of Methuen is on the board here to begin the second half. Corsairs briefly led by 14. More commonly, their largest lead was 12. A turnover here gives Rivera another chance. Arinze picks him up and bothers the shot. Did a nice job not giving his 4th foul. Azor plucks it out of traffic. Azor into the front court, tosses it out left side. Leahy puts to the floor, tried to dribble between 2 defenders, lost the handle, leaks out. Azor to Ashworth for 3, no good. Offensive rebound. Obiora had it and lost it. Alessandro brings it the other way. Up ahead, Rivera trying to do something for YouTube and hit the underpinnings of the backboard instead. Ackham kicks it out wide. Obiora locked up completely by Osgood. Should have been a foul there. There wasn't. Ashworth off the dribble. Pivots, leaves it for Ackham. 10 to shoot. Ackham muscles his way through the lane, loses the ball. Officials looking to see which way to call this. And they get together and say Plymouth State ball off yet another Corsair turnover. So Plymouth State has played some pretty hapless offense here tonight, but in spite of that, they're within 8 points with 17:22 remaining in regulation. Rivera will back it out with 15 on the shot clock. Leroy stops and travels. Ugly stuff happening on both ends of the floor offensively. Corsairs with the advantage and could just be one run away from putting this game away, but they've got to score first. Azor with a burst of speed got fouled. Now he was going to pass there. We'll see if he gets the benefit of the doubt on free throws or not. And he will. Now he was turning his head and his body to pass. You'll see what I'm talking about as he comes through and he catches a real break. He's not going to shoot that ball. He was looking to get it out. But he'll go to the line, an 86% free throw shooter on the year, and makes his first. Azor had limited minutes in the first half. He played 13. Sanders Dyer got the other 7 off the bench as Brian Baptiste kind of easing Azor into his role as the starting post guard on a playoff team. Point guard, I should say. As the second one's no good. Offensive rebound, though, by Akham. Kicked out. Harry Alexander's going to try a 3. Don't see that every day. Missed the shot, and rebound comes down to Osgood. So the Corsair lead stands at 9. Leroy up top, guarded by Alexander. Bounce pass off to Rivera. Rivera kicks up top. Bounce entry down low for Rivera. He'll lob it back up. 8 to shoot. Step through the lane. Leroy no good. Batted. An offensive rebound corrected by Jalen Leroy. Fresh 30-second shot clock for Plymouth State. The effort has been there for the Panthers. The accuracy shooting has not. If they find that, they'll have a chance to win the game. Leroy trying to change that here. In and out on the three-pointer, and Alexander flies through to pick up the rebound. Ashworth off to his left for Alexander. Trying to set up Akham on the block. Akham on Leroy, backs it in, and gets fouled on the floor. With 16:01 remaining in the half, so we'll keep it here. Bright and early coming back into the game. And Chris McCarthy as well. McCarthy, a freshman out of Chelmsford, Mass. 20 seconds remaining on the Corsair shot clock. Ashworth looking to trigger the baseline out of bounds. Tosses it out long for Leahy, who receives it into the backcourt. Ashworth tries the 3, no good off the back rim. Offensive rebound by Leahy, and he gets it to go. Good effort by Leahy at both ends. Did a nice job of making sure he didn't go front court to back court with the ball, didn't grab it until he was in the backcourt. 40-29 now. The Corsair advantage. Timeout coming at the next whistle. Pass goes out wide, and Alessandro just barely able to grab it. His pass to Leroy, taken away by Azor. Azor into the front court, backs it out, and the Corsairs will use some time here. Ashworth spins, kicks out, gets it back. He's going to let another one fly. Shooter, shoot, baby! Timeout on the floor called by Plymouth State. It's a 30-second timeout, so it becomes a full timeout. We will take it as well. 15-14 to go in regulation. Your score, Corsairs 43, Panthers 29. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV. (15-14) remaining in regulation. I was talking about this in the first half with Plymouth State. They were trying to limp into the first media timeout and let themselves get left behind in the first half. Now, it's happened again here. They fell behind by 10 in the first half here. They've fallen behind by 14 on the third made three-pointer of the game by Jake Ashworth. And 14 matches the largest lead of the game for UMass Dartmouth. They were up 33-19, and now they're up 43-29, so the team's tied at just 10 since that point. Panthers going back to work on offense as there's a foul up high. Now, this is supposed to bring us to another timeout. We'll see whether or not that occurs here. The foul is on Leahy, and it will be. So hope you enjoyed those 9 seconds of live basketball action. We'll have more of them for you, I promise, when we return. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
.05 to go in regulation. UMass Dartmouth with its largest lead of the ball game, up by 14 against what's been a pretty listless Plymouth State offense here tonight. And it really is surprising when you look at it. This is a Plymouth State team that came in here on December the 1st and hung 90 points on the Corsairs and scored some 81 in defeat just a few days ago, back on February the 9th. That's hardly ancient history. But tonight, just the 29 on the board for Plymouth State, and you have to figure they're going to need at least another 29 to have a chance to win this game with 15 minutes left. It's not like you're going to be able to shut the Corsairs out the rest of the way, so you've got to be able to outpace them and score at probably a 2-1 or maybe 3-1 clip. They've got to pick it up, and it's really got to start here or their season's going to be over in a hurry. Leroy, maybe you heard me, 2 quick ones, 43-31. Azor off the dribble. Doubled up. And did the Corsairs get a timeout in here, or was there a foul, or was there a turnover? It's one of the three. It appears it was a timeout called by UMass Dartmouth. And it's a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here. UMD in front by a dozen at the moment as they try to advance to the semifinal round of the Little East Conference Tournament. I told you there's one other game going on here this evening, and that's between Western Connecticut and UMass Boston. WestCon with a 6-point lead right now, 57-51 with 13:29 left to go in that game. And for Western Connecticut, that's one of the better home court advantages in the Little East Conference, because for everybody except Eastern Connecticut, that is a doozy of a road trip. And to have to make it on a day where you had class as well can make it doubly so. It's hard to get out of there with wins, especially on days other than Saturdays. The lob comes in. Ashworth pushes out to the right side for Leahy. Leahy stumbles, passes it just in time. Only 5 seconds to shoot here. Azor is alerted by Obiora, misses the jumper. Leahy gets a man's rebound and puts it back in from the left. Huge play there by Sean Leahy. Those things win you tournament games. UMD by 14 again. Leroy pulls up, and his elbow jumper is good. He's made each of his last 2. So Leroy's starting to heat up. He's got 6. UMD still in front by a dozen. Azor out to Leahy. Leahy looking for some help. Gets it from Azor in front of his own bench. Leahy with a catch, left open for 3. They dare him to shoot it, and he says, boo. Sean Leahy calls the bluff and gets UMD in front by 15, their largest lead of the game, 48-33. Leahy not usually a three-point shooter, that's why he was open, but he took full advantage of the opportunity. Leahy was a 31% free throw shooter coming into the game, missed bunny inside, ball goes out of bounds, but last touched by the Corsairs. Plymouth very fortunate that that's the case, as that kind of keeps them in it for the moment, because this is the thing. 15-point deficits aren't in and of themselves the end of the world, but when you get to them with 13:29 left, the team that has the lead usually either consciously or unconsciously makes an effort to start taking bigger portions of the shot clock when they come down the floor, so the game gets late in a hurry when the margin is this size. Leroy putting the team on his back, misses that three-pointer, but the rebound is tipped out to Simpson. He gets rejected by Leahy, but the Panthers will hang on to the ball with a fresh shot clock here in 13:10 remaining. Here's another look at the block inside by Leahy. Got a hand on it, but it came right down to Simpson, and Leahy continuing with a high effort at both ends. Leroy going to try it again. No good off the front rim. Alexander with a huge rebound there. The Corsairs can take a big step toward putting the game away if they can score here. Alexander traveled before letting that float go. And this has been kind of the persistent issue of the night for UMass Dartmouth, as they get chance after chance to just run away and hide, and they've not yet taken them. And although this game appears to be going their way, it's hard to really forecast that at this stage with this much time left in the game, still nearly 13 full minutes to go. So Osgood receives the ball up high, passes off to Rivera. Rivera returns. Osgood gets his defender to leave the floor, runs in, and pounds down a two-hand flush. Osgood's third and fourth points of the game, the second dunk we've had here tonight. Marcus Azor had the other one on a breakaway for the Corsairs. Azor loses the handle but shovels it through to Leahy. Leahy stops his feet, gives it up for Akim. Too many green jerseys in that neighborhood. They bring it back up the floor. Rivera loses the handle, snatched away by Ashworth. Ahead to Akim. He's going to rise and score. Great play by Ashworth, who was Johnny on the spot there. Leroy kicks through. Rivera makes the extra pass. Wide open three for Simpson is good. So that Plymouth offense showing you some signs of life as they get back to within 12. Timeout coming at the next whistle. Jones leaves it. Ashworth going to let another one fly, and he's got the immediate answer. 4 triples tonight for Jake Ashworth. 14 points, all from the floor. And they're going to call that a defensive foul on the Corsairs. And that's another bailout for Plymouth State, as he was about to throw into a steal. Also could have been a charge. And that's going to keep Plymouth State hanging on by a thread here in this first round matchup. That brings us to our next timeout. UMass Dartmouth has got its largest lead of the night at 15 points. Your score, Corsairs 53, Panthers 38. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV. .39 remaining in regulation. Corsairs trying to build out the rest of the bridge to a wire-to-wire win here in the first round of the Little East Conference Tournament. Corsairs scored the first 7 points in this game, and they have played with the lead ever since. Plymouth State's gotten it relatively close a couple of times, but they haven't been able to make a serious push at getting the game tied. Leroy misses inside there. Rebound secured by Patrick Gavin, whom we're seeing for the first time tonight, a sophomore out of Beverly, Mass. and Beverly High. Azor with the ball, and it's the Corsairs' game to lose now, up by 15, under 12 minutes remaining and with the ball. Basket here would be a big step. Azor trying to supply it here, knocks it down. UMD by 17. 55-38. Largest Corsair lead, and Plymouth has got to turn it on right now or they'll be left behind. Osgood returns for Simpson. Simpson lets it fly, no good. Corsairs collect the easy rebound. And Plymouth State's got 1 foot out the door right now. down 17. Ashworth, kick out, looking for the three is Gavin! Corsairs by 20. Leroy gets fouled and will get himself to the free throw line with 10.5 to go. Heck of a time for Patrick Gavin to check in for the first time tonight. Corsairs getting some three-pointers from guys that aren't usual suspects. Leahy before the break, now Gavin. And UMD starting to run away with it now, up by 20. Leroy at the line, misses the first. Plymouth State needs these opportunities to score with the clock stopped. It's really the only way back when you're this far down with 10.5 minutes to go. And it's really imperative for Leroy that he make these shots. Missed the first, needs to salvage the one, and he doesn't. And an easy rebound for the Corsairs, and they appear to be well on their way to King. Long time to go, though, and the Corsairs would be wise to start using some of that time when they've got the ball down this end. Jones with the crossover, picks it up, needs some help, gets it inside. Seabloom shoots but misses, and flying in for the rebound was Alessandro. Brighton early, lets it go, and he'll get called for an offensive foul. Panthers just coming unglued here in these last couple of minutes. Corsairs have kept the pressure on. And Plymouth State starting to cave with 10:06 to play. They're going to get in to a full court press now with their season on the line. Plymouth State came in with an overall record of 13-12. Azor enters to Seabloom. Seabloom dribbles out in traffic, kicks Ashworth. No good off the front rim. Would have been his fifth three of the night. And Gavin misses wild on the follow. Rivera to the baseline, throws a good backside pass up to Leroy. Leroy makes a good pass, and now it's not the time for good passes. You need points, and Plymouth State finally gets them there as Alessandro steps in and gets it. 58-40 your score, but valuable time wasted with 9.5 minutes to play. Jones up top, puts to the floor, and kicks right, deflected over to Brian Baptiste on the Corsair bench. UMass Dartmouth will keep the ball with 9:19 left in regulation. Ball in play to Azor, as he'll enter to Gavin. Gavin had Seabloom wide open, should have gone there. Missed the double team shot inside. So Leroy kicks out. Rivera again gives it up early, steps forward into a three and knocks it down. Brighton early with his first triple of the game. Plymouth on a 5-0 run. Now they've cut it from 20 to 15 with just under 9 minutes to go. Stranger things have in fact happened. Azor leaves it for Seabloom. Seabloom pivots, travel. 8:43 remaining. Panthers trying to make one last stand here in 2019. This time of year, teams start getting eliminated all over the country each and every day. Until come Sunday, there's just the 64 left. Backdoor bounce pass entry. Brighton early keeps it in play, gets it out to Rivera, who misses on the three. Ashworth the rebound, and he'll calm it down as he brings it across the timeline. Clock's the Corsairs' best friend right now. They should use some of it, but there's a foul on the floor. It'll be the fifth foul of the half against Plymouth. Foul is on early. It's his third. Arinze Obiora comes back in. Remember him? That's a big benefit of having a large lead, as the Corsairs were able to keep him away from a fourth foul. And they also keep him fresh coming in toward the end of the game. So not only do you have to come back from down 15, but you have to do it with the Corsairs' best player with fresh legs. Three-pointer no good. Arinze immediately an impact as he tapped that rebound away from Osgood, who would have otherwise had it. And Nakam's able to score an easy two. UMD now by 17, 60-43. Rivera still doesn't want shots. Gives it out to the right side. Three-pointer by Alessandro, no good. And a push-off foul called against Leroy. So that will bring us to our next timeout. Corsairs on the very precipice of a first-round victory here tonight. 7:53 to go. Your score, Corsairs 60, Panthers 43. You're watching the 2019 Little East Conference Men's Basketball Tournament on Little East TV.
For the love of the game, but for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Corsairs scored the first 7 tonight, and they've been off and running ever since. They're up by 17 at the moment, 60-43. And the vital signs just haven't been there for the Plymouth State offense all night long. And they are now up against the wall as much as you can possibly be. The game not over yet just by virtue of the fact that there's 7 minutes, 53 seconds remaining. So we've got one more timeout coming in the game, one more media timeout coming under 4 minutes. And basically, Plymouth State, to have any chance at all, they've got to at least cut this in half. You're down by 17 right now. You need to take a minimum of 8 of that away before you get to that under 4 minute timeout if you want to have a chance to win this thing here tonight. But again, Corsairs have had the much better offensive evening. Corsairs have put up 27 points in the second half versus just 19 for Plymouth State. That's gotten the lead out to where it is. And Arinze Obiora playing with a fresh set of legs out here late, but Plymouth gets the immediate steal. That's what they needed. They're big on the extra pass, which you appreciate, but they're not making the shots. So Rivera has the ball stolen away from him. Corsairs have been turning it over a ton. And that's what's kept this game within screaming distance for Plymouth State as they continue to hold the ball here. Simpson's going to rise into a 3, and he hits. And so the game's not over for as long as Plymouth can keep stealing the ball away whenever they want to. And if they can mix in a 3 here and there, they might not be done yet. 14-point game. Seablum nearly had it stolen away again. They call a foul. And that gets the Corsairs into the bonus. So they'll start getting opportunities to make some free throws here.
Plymouth State University foul, call number 4, Joe Simpson. His second team
Fouls on Simpson. His second. And so Seablum goes to the line. Seablum, a 68% free throw shooter coming into today, 15 for 22 on the year. And he's good on the front end. So Plymouth State going to need a barrage of three-pointers if they're to come back in this one. They started it out the way you needed to. They got the turnover. They made the three-pointer. You just have to rinse and repeat time after time after time to come back from a deficit like that. Corsairs did something similar to these same Panthers in the 2010 Little East tournament. They came back from down double digits at home in the second half to end up winning 77-67. One of the more entertaining second halves that we've had on our air here on DC TV over the years. Foul there on Seablum was his first. Corsairs had it to give. In fact, they have one more to give. Leroy misses from inside. Obiora keeps it in play. He fed the ball off to Seablum. They call a jump ball, and wouldn't you know, the possession arrow begins, or belongs, I should say, to Plymouth State. So just seems like it's happening over and over again just when you're about to just shovel that last bit of dirt on Plymouth State here tonight. They come away with the ball again with still some clock and still theoretically a chance to do something about it as we come under 7 minutes remaining. Rivera gives it off for Simpson. Simpson enters. Fall-away jumper was on target but bounced out, and Ackham able to rip away the rebound off the Osgood miss. Corsairs will bring it into the final 6.5 minutes of the game, now up by 16. Obiora calling for it on the block, and he gets fouled. Two different players in the vicinity, both Simpson and Alessandro. And they'll get Alessandro for the foul. It'll be his second. And so that puts Leahy to the free throw line. Leahy came into the game at 69% from the line this year. His first is good. Leahy now with 15 on the night. As Corsair is just about ready to put this one to bed with 6.5 to go. Rivera leaves it for Simpson. Simpson hands off. Loses the ball. Corsairs come away with it. 3-on-1 up the floor. Ackham, good night. Corsairs back in front by 20 with 6:13 to go. And credit to the Corsairs. This really has been everything a first-round game is supposed to be in conference tournament play. If you host one of these opening round games, you want to turn it into a pep rally. Get your fans excited. See if you can get some of these kids believing in you enough to get on a bus to go to Keene on Friday. And yell and scream for you there. Give you a chance in a neutral site game against Eastern Connecticut. As Leroy knocks down a three from the corner. 66-49 with 5:52 to go. Azor to the scorer's table. Ashworth around to the corner. Leahy open for three, misses off the back rim. Arinze gets the rebound, gets fouled, and will go to the free throw line with 5:42 remaining. Some last-minute instructions from assistant coach Tom Keyes for Marcus Azor before he comes back in. Rivera called for his second foul. Obiora goes to the line where he's an 80% free throw shooter on the year. 104 makes in 130 attempts coming into tonight. Shooting a 1-and-1 here, as that was the 9th Plymouth State foul. And he's good on the front end. Second is good. So Obiora now with 8 on the ball game. 5:35 left to go. Stolen away by Sean Leahy. Leahy rises up and lays it through. Timeout called by Plymouth State with the horse well out of the barn at this stage with 5:29 to go. Corsairs, their largest lead of the game. They're up by a score of 70-49. So the Corsairs have got all systems go for a wire-to-wire win here tonight. That would set up a semifinal matchup with the Eastern Connecticut State Warriors. UMass Dartmouth this season lost at home to Eastern Connecticut back on January the 16th by a score of 74-68, but then won there on the road by a score of 69-68. So very similar to what happened in the regular season with Plymouth. Now Western Connecticut has opened its lead up to double digits against UMass Boston, 65-53, the score there with 11:58 remaining in that game. So if that score holds, Western Connecticut would take on Keene State in the other semifinal matchup, and the winner of that game would play the winner of UMass Dartmouth and Eastern Connecticut for all the Little East marbles come Saturday afternoon. And in fact, Western Connecticut, we've just gotten word, has opened that game way up to 78-61 with 5:34 left to go in that game. So safe to project that the home teams will defend home court in first round action in the Little East, and you will have a true top 4 in the Little East Conference coming this weekend. Top seeded Keene State, second seeded Eastern Connecticut, third seeded UMass Dartmouth, fourth seeded Western Connecticut will be your semifinal tournament field come Friday night. Rivera hands off for Simpson, and they call a foul on Azor there. Had his hand in the cookie jar a little bit. Corsairs had it to give. It's the second foul on Azor. Roy puts it in play for Simpson. Plymouth offense, they trust Simpson with the ball a lot more than everyone else, and he's been taking a lot of the shots here in the second half. Misses on that one. So Leahy pulls down the rebound, and UMD will bring it into the final 5 minutes, up by 21. Corsairs scored the first 7 tonight and never looked back. They took leads of as many as 14 in the first half, and this right now is their largest lead of the night. Up by 21 at 70-49. Deflected into the backcourt. Wise move by Ashworth to receive it in the backcourt, but now they've got to get a shot off. He's more than happy to supply it. No good, but a putback by Sean Leahy. Leahy's put a nice game together. He's got a game-high 19 points. 4:25 to go. Ackham still going for the steal there as they push it off to Alessandro. Return back up top. Leroy for three is good. Western Connecticut's got that lead up to 80-61 on UMass Boston. We'll have one more media timeout coming at the next whistle as the Corsairs will dribble the clock under 4 minutes to go, and they did a nice job removing all doubt here in this latest segment. Azor gets past Rivera, floats it up and gets it to go. Azor in his first career college postseason game has got 8 points, has had a pretty nice night tonight for Brian Baptiste as Rivera steps through. Backside three-pointer is up and good for Alessandro. 3:35 and winding left to play here. UMD in front by 19 at 74-55. Ackham steps through traffic. Really, this game went a long way toward being done when Sean Leahy hit that I dare you three-pointer. Obiora with 10. Keeps it in the corner. He's going to pop a three and misses short. Ackham had his hands on it, lost it, got it back. Now they give the Corsairs a new shot clock, and there's a whistle. We'll see. And they may ask for a reset of that shot clock, and they'll do one better. They will call it a 30-second shot clock violation. So it was a little surprising that the Corsairs got a fresh shot clock out of that because really Plymouth didn't have the ball long enough to get possession, and so the referees intervened there and said that there shouldn't have been the shot clock reset that you had, and that will trigger the final media timeout of the night. So we'll step aside one more time, and then we'll bring you home. Corsairs 74, Panthers 55. You're watching UMass Dartmouth basketball in the Little East Tournament on Little East TV and DC TV.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
3:08 to go in regulation. Corsairs have led from the very beginning here tonight and continue to with 3:08 remaining in the game. 74-55 your score. UMass Dartmouth has done the hard work here tonight of setting up the rubber match with Eastern Connecticut, as Bill Geithner's squad has been really the standard bearers in the Little East Conference throughout this decade. Really ever since Bob Walsh got the job at Division I University of Maine and left Rhode Island College. But even before that, Eastern Connecticut was starting to tip the balance of power in the Little East. They've been the gold standard for the last several years. And so although it is a neutral site game, that is very stiff competition for UMD come Friday. No good off the front rim, and the follow is up and good. Osgood with the points. He's up to 6 on the game. And this is the interesting thing. If you're UMass Dartmouth or if you're Western Connecticut, you're going to have to, in all likelihood, beat both Eastern Connecticut and Keene State to get where you want to go. They've been the two top teams in the conference in recent years. Keene State went on a run to the Elite Eight a couple of years ago before losing to eventual national champion Babson in 2017. They've changed the call and given UMass Dartmouth the ball with 2:47 remaining here. Obiora will look to enter, and he puts the ball in play for Ashworth. Azor dribbles behind the back, and they call a foul on Plymouth. That was a pretty clean steal there by Osgood. Not really worth getting too worked up over given the situation, but that shouldn't have been a foul.
Plymouth State University foul, call the number 33, Mike Osgood. His third team win. At the line for the Corsairs, number 10, Marcus Azor, shooting 2.
So Marcus Azor goes back to the stripe. Actually has 7 points on the night, now make it 8. And the freshman out of Brockton trying to grow into a role that he's going to be counted on. Not just this weekend, but going forward for UMass Dartmouth. as their point guard in key games. 2019 marking the 10th anniversary of UMass Dartmouth going to the Sweet 16 in the 2008-2009 season, and their point guard Reese Freeman, as a senior, was a big reason why that happened. As the Corsairs, despite an outstanding regular season record of 25-3, did not get to host in the tournament. They got shipped out to Worcester Polytech, and they knocked off Baruch in the round of 64, and then WPI in the round of 32 to advance to the Sweet 16. That's a team that really ought to be inducted into the UMass Dartmouth Hall of Fame roundabout now, which I know is something that's being discussed. As there's a foul down under the basket. Still 2:26 to go here. And one that's been long since decided, but we've got a lot of free throws standing between us and the finish line here tonight. Foul is the third of the game on Alessandro, and Obiora goes to the line. Arinze has got himself 8 points on the night. First one's good. Arinze, a senior out of Hyde Park, Mass. Played his high school ball at Brookline. Second is good as well. Picked up at half court by Leroy to start the clock again. Rivera finally will take a shot from inside, and he hits. Plymouth needed him to be a little more aggressive with the trigger inside. Of course, he's only 5'8" and 130, so you can understand why he wouldn't want to shoot in there with those bigger bodies, but he passed up a lot of decent looks here tonight as he comes up with a steal there and returns, and it's laid up, no good, and free throws are coming for Alessandro as he got fouled, and still a long 2:01 to go to the finish line here.
His fourth, team 8. At the line, the Panthers, number 14, Manny Alessandro, shooting 2.
Free throw bounces out on Alessandro with 2:01 to go. Marquise Jones comes back in. Obiora appears to be done for the night. Gets a nice round of applause from those in the know. Second free throw's no good. Ashworth pulls down the rebound. It's not quite a full-on empty the bench type blowout for UMass Dartmouth, as the reserves all remaining dressed at the moment for UMD. Azor gets it down to the baseline for Seablum. Azor kicks out. Akam puts up a 3. No good off the back rim. Rebound collected by Simpson. Thrown across to the right side. Three-pointer up and good for Leroy. Timeout called by Plymouth State to prolong things in a 15-point game with 1:27 left to go. And so you wonder, I mean, it is a do-or-die game. Are they going to play it like it's much closer than it actually is here? I mean, 1:27 left, down by 15. You've got no chance whatsoever of winning in that situation, but they may, given the fact that there is no tomorrow, choose to pretend that there is, and so you may see them go full-court press. You may see them foul, and this last 1:27 could take a while. Corsairs just have to get the ball in safely. You have to protect the ball, and you have to make free throws. That's all you have to do in a situation like this, as you try to build that bridge into Friday. No timeouts remaining for Plymouth State, which further hinders their ability to extend things. They will get into that press. Corsairs safely get it in. Akam with a long pass ahead to Seablum. Nobody picks up Jones, so he scores the easy 2, and that should dispel any notion of that. 80 points on the board for the Corsairs tonight, as they're now in front by 17. And it's blocked on the way in by Akam, but a free throw line jumper knocked down by Osgood. Now again, no timeouts remaining for Plymouth State here, thankfully. But they do give a foul, as Osgood fouls Seablum, and Seablum says, "Thank you very much. I'll go get myself some stats."
His fourth, team woman. At the line for the Corsairs, number 22, Adam Seablum, shooting 2.
Seablum came in at 68% on the season. He's got himself 9 points on the night, so a chance to get into double figures. Misses on the first, and he'll get one more shot at it here with 61 ticks remaining. Second one is good. And so Adam does find his way into double digits in this, his first postseason game as a college basketball player. Three-pointer no good. Jones pulls the rebound, gets it ahead to Azor. Corsairs will have to take one more shot in this game at least, so Akem supplies it right there. Gets a quick pair, and we had a whistle. I don't know why. Corsairs might have called a timeout just for substitutions there. They haven't credited on the scoreboard. Play is stopped. And so Plymouth State getting Chris McCarthy back on the floor. Mike Osgood, a senior, comes out to a round of applause. And UMD will get Matthew Sewell into the game for just a few seconds here. Sewell, a senior out of Sutton, Mass. Azor walks it across the timeline. Still about a 7-second difference between the clocks. You don't usually see a team take an intentional shot clock violation, but this is a situation where it would be appropriate. And just about an 8-second difference between the clocks. Azor gets the instruction from Brian Baptiste to take a shot. He misses it. Jones pulls the rebound. Now the Corsairs don't have to shoot, and they won't. And UMass Dartmouth comes away with a convincing wire-to-wire first-round victory, 83-66, to punch their ticket to the Final Four in the Little East Conference Tournament this Friday at Keene State. So congratulations to UMass Dartmouth on the victory here tonight as they improve on the year, now to 19-7, which has been a truly excellent season for the Corsairs, and 13-4 on the Little East Conference circuit. So really all comes down to the game on Friday at Eastern Connecticut State. If they're able to win that, that would make them a 20-win team. It would also give them 2 wins over Eastern Connecticut, who's a regionally ranked opponent. It would make them a viable at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. Now, they haven't been in the regional rankings, so it's hard to imagine that they'll get in, but they would make themselves one heck of a case if they can get another win over Eastern and get to 20. So that's a big carrot in front of them on Friday, but of course, they want the whole thing, and if they're to get the whole thing, they're probably going to have to, in just over 24 hours' time, knock off the 2 best teams in the conference in Eastern Connecticut and Keene State. But they've got the opportunity, and all you can ask for is the chance. And now the stage is set for those 2 right there, Danielle Gonzalez and Ashley Brown, among others. And Matt Ducharme over there on the left as the women's team will host this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So we'll step aside for the moment, see if we can get some post-game reaction from coaches and players, and then bid you adieu as the Corsairs win the first-round matchup by a final score of 83-65. Do stay tuned. We'll be right back on Little East TV and